Welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and do a break it up and feel good exercise. For this exercise, you'll want to prepare by wearing something that exposes as much skin as you are comfortable, because we're going to be using the skin to help us to gain access to our connective tissue for this break it up and feel good exercise. You'll also want to have something that will allow you to help with your balance if you need that, and possibly a chair if you prefer, rather than sitting on the floor for a portion of the exercise. Okay, so this particular exercise, just want to encourage everyone to go exactly the pace that feels good for you. And I might go pretty quickly because I've been doing exercises that allow me to maybe go at a faster pace than someone who is starting and to do these exercises for the first time. And please keep in mind too that when I started doing these exercises, about it's been a process here, but like years now, say 4-ish years, this style of exercise practice I started. And when I started these practices, I could not do things like touch my toes when I was in a standing position. I could not squat. So these exercises over time really do help to increase the flexibility and mobility of your body, and it's really important to just not push it. You need to go at your own pace and be just working right at the edge that feels comfortable and good for your body, because you don't want to injure yourself. So go at a pace that's right for you. There's absolutely no benefit in trying to do something that is more than where you're at. Just be where you're at. That's a great place to be. Okay, so to start, let's go ahead and have a seat. And for the exercise, what we're going to do, it's probably easiest to maybe think about the bicep, for example. So across the bicep of your arm, there's going to be a connection point up across the end of the shoulder joint, and another connection point across the elbow. So what we'll do is we'll be pulling the muscle. We could pull from really any area, but we can pull away, like from our shoulder towards our fingertip. And when we tug in that direction, you're going to feel the connective tissue tugging up in the shoulder, that end of the attachment point. And you can also tug, pulling your muscle away from your fingertip towards your shoulder. And when you do that, you're going to feel this stretching sensation that's in and around your elbow. So this is what we're going to do across most or all of the joints that we can find in our body. And this will be a kind of example of what you can do for as long as you want to, for as many or as much of your body as you want. Okay, so with the toes, starting, kind of using my fingers, grasping with a pretty firm tension, or firm grip or firm tension, to tug. And toes, I even just pull kind of the toes themselves, open up the joint, and even like move my bones around a little bit, putting tension in opposite directions across the bones of the foot. But now moving to the center of the foot, tug, pulling away from the ankle, and then kind of a tug, pulling away from the toes. So about maybe 10-ish times. And you can switch directions, whatever feels good for you. I'm grasping with with both hands on my body to kind of stabilize, and I can really feel the the tug, that grasp of both hands tugging in an opposite direction across the joints. Okay, and so now around the ankle on either side, tug, 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 just separating, feeling that. Okay, now I'm moving up to kind of the calf, just above the ankle, pulling towards the knee. And it's a little easier to start getting the feel on a larger part of the body compared to the foot. Tugging away, and then holding the calf and tugging the flesh of the muscle towards the toes, so that you feel the tug, tug, tug at the knee. And you can move your hand around your leg to get and feel the tug more intensely at different points of the knee. And now let's go ahead and do something just a little different, which is just on the ridge of your shin bone, where the muscle meets. Just go ahead and kind of dig your fingers in around that little muscle, kind of pushing your muscle outward toward the outside edge of your calf. Give a little run up and down there. And you can give your knee just a quick squeeze and rub. And now, grabbing kind of in the middle of your thigh, tug, tug, tug that flesh up and away from your toes towards your hip, and then pulling down the flesh from your hip away kind of towards your knee, doing a tug, tug, tug in that direction. So just kind of bouncing, tugging. Let's switch to the other side. I was on the left, so I'm moving to the right, to the toes. Giving them, break it up and feel good. In any direction that feels good on those toes. Maybe moving the bones, and while you hold your hands in different directions, whatever feels comfortable for you. Now into the middle of the foot. Tug, tug, tug. Pulling. It's good on the outside, kind of the outside edge of that foot. Seems like we're in the middle. Oh, you can just get a tug what feels good. Okay, and now across the ankle, having my hands on either side of my ankle and kind of tugging and pulling the skin to access the connective tissue underneath to stretch it. Tug, tug, tug it. Okay. And you can move your body, but actually just, I think, trying to just relax your body and use your hands to manipulate your joint is a good way to do it. So releasing the actual muscle tension of my leg and my foot at this point, and just providing the movement with my hands. Okay, from the center of the calf, tugging the tissue away from the toes, and then tugging the tissue away from the knee. A little extra love down the edge of the shin bone, pushing that muscle away, or just massaging in there a little bit. That's a good place to go. A little extra tugging right at the knee joint, and then up in the thigh, tugging away from the knee, feeling that stretching around the knee as I tug from the thigh, now tugging away from the hip down towards the toes while holding the thigh. I'm noticing my legs really both feeling kind of good. That's what we're hoping for. Okay, now I'm standing. Once you're standing, I'm going to go ahead and do just a little extra of the tugging down on my thigh, kind of tugging away from my hip down towards my knee, away from the hip down towards the knee on the left side. So we've done both legs now. Okay, and now let's go ahead and work around the hip with the same. We've already been doing that from the bottom, but now let's work from the top. So if you just grab your belly kind of above the base of the abdomen, above the pubis, and go ahead and just lift and tug that tissue and pull the connective tissue. You can move your hands around and tug in different positions. Just tug, tug, tug. Oh, that feels very good. Working around all of the pelvis in the front and tugging that connective tissue across the hip and working to the side of the hip and then to even the back. You can just tug up, pulling those muscles. Tug, tug, tug. And then just go ahead and every direction on your belly, kind of from the middle point around, just tugging and pulling. Kind of release the connection points that are around the side. And now go ahead and in your belly section, if you actually reach around to your side and tug, 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 so that you feel the tug back at your spine, pulling the tissue and the muscles there kind of away from your lower spine. Tug, tug, tug. This is why you need some access to your skin so you can get the tug action happening. So yeah, I was really feeling and getting the right rhythm and the right grip to actually notice and feel that little doot, 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 tug, tug, tug feeling around your spine is where you want to get that feeling sensation happening as you reach around your midsection. And now with your belly, let's go ahead and grab and just give some really good tugs down from towards your toes so that you really feel the tug, tug, tug happening, like at your solar plexus and across the bottom of your ribs, tugging down. And just keep that same kind of lateral tug, tug, tug going down across your entire chest. You're going to start to feel as you move your hands up, the tug, tug, tug sensation. You will feel higher and higher up towards your throat. And in the chest here, what you want to do is, again, kind of maybe at the midpoint of your pec, you can tug, tug, tug away from your breastbone, kind of going out to the left, from the left pec, tug, tug, tug across the breastbone, and then from the right, tug, tug, tug out away from the breastbone, and then tug, 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 coming back in towards the middle of the breastbone too, and moving around, tugging then in really all directions. Tug, tug, tug the breasts. You can spend lots of time here tugging all of the individual joints of the ribs too, and moving your fingers through each little muscle in between the ribs. So I want you to go ahead and now reach as far as you can around the side of your ribs and get that tug, tug, tug happening in your back, across the muscles in your back, all the way to your spine. Tug, 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 and altering your little hand position so that you feel it in different muscles across the back. As you do this on your own without listening to my voice, really feel, you can switch to the other side now, really feel and notice how your body is constructed. Notice where the muscles are and how you can feel where the muscles attach. And just explore what happens when you move the muscles with your hand, with your muscles more relaxed. Just notice what you notice and what you feel. Feel where there's tension when you do those bounces or those little tug, tug, tug. As you tug, 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 where do you feel more tension? Where does it feel good to break it up and just do a little extra tug, 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 or just spend the extra time, not necessarily harder, although you can experiment with different types of tug, tug, tugs. Okay, let's go ahead and move now to our hands. So just kind of like we did the hands, for me it's a little easier to kind of pull away from the whole of the hand. A little bit more of a massage type of a feel, but with that tug, tug, tug kind of element or flavor to it, pulling away from the wrist, tug, 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 and I'm going to pull away from the fingers too, or the tips of the fingers more towards the wrist. So both directions. I'll do my right hand too. Away, tug, tug, tug. Keeping the hand, my right hand that I'm working on, just feel it loose, and then pulling away from my fingers towards my wrist. Just tug, tug, tug. Okay, and go back to the left. Let's just tug a little bit more on the wrist, away from towards the fingers, and then on the opposite side of the wrist. So tug, tug, tug. Up towards the shoulder. I'm just going to keep working on the same arm here. Now grasping the forearm and feeling that tug, tug, tug at the elbow. Moving around the forearm, tug, tug, tug. Feeling that connective tissue where those muscles are attaching. Then up, putting my hand on the bicep and pulling away from the elbow. Getting a tug, tug, tug across that joint. Moving my hand all the way around my bicep, and then tugging my bicep to access my shoulder. So feeling the tug, tug, tug at my shoulder. Tug, 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 tug. This is my pace, but if you need to and you're just doing a tug, 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 that's totally okay. Or if you do a long tug and hold, however feels right for you. I really like the tug, 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 about like that. Okay, so up in the shoulder and neck. Sometimes you can go a little deeper, or just really going in different directions. There's a lot of different attachment points across the shoulder because we need to be able to move it in all directions. So there's attachment points across in all directions on the arm, and then tugging away from the shoulder joint up towards the neck, which is for me a little bit more challenging to get the tug, tug, tug feeling. So if you have a friend willing to do this, it can be really great. All around, all directions, tug, 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 all that skin that you feel. And from the back, you can reach up over your shoulder and feel that tug, tug, tug. When I do this, I can feel the tug going all the way down. Like, that's a good experiment too, is to see how far down you can actually feel the tug sensation. It's like all this connective tissue and the fascia underneath the skin runs everywhere. So if you do really feel and focus in, you can feel that connective tissue moving, maybe even down into your toes. If you get a tug and you get your grasp just right and your muscles are just loose enough. Okay, so I'm still working and tugging around my neck on this side, but we'll get back to the neck a little bit more. Let's go back to the right hand and tug away from the wrist. Just kind of doing that wrist a little again. And then tugging on the opposite side, grabbing the forearm and pulling towards the elbow, so you feel the tug, tug, tug around the wrist. And then tugging the forearm in the opposite direction away from the elbow, feeling the tug, tug, tug at the elbow. Just the right pressure for you. Then the tug, tug, tug up at from the bicep, tugging away from the elbow, all the way around, tugging down away from the shoulder, tug, 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 all the way around, tug, 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 your grip. So you're learning this technique and you can apply it where you need it, when you need it. And then the shoulder, tug, 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 all directions away from the shoulder, from the neck area towards the neck, so that you feel that, and pulling also away from the neck in the back. And so let's just work a little more deeply on our neck here, doing a tug, tug, tug to feel the sensation going through the back to the spine, and then even down towards the hip and the feet, even if you feel it down there. But doing a tug, tug, tug. I'm moving a little more slowly in this area, but you do whatever is right for you. Okay, for the neck, I'm going to use kind of both of my hands at the same time. So starting with my fingers, sometimes I use the front of my fingers, or I curve my fingers in almost more to a fist, and then do a tug, tug grasp, pulling my neck up, 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 away from the connection points around the collarbone. Just tug, tug, tug that flesh up, like I'm pulling on some socks. Just tug, 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 tug. Trying to get them up. That feels really, really good. And then tug, tug, tug down. And just be gentle on what you need, or as firm as you need. The neck is, that tissue is very thick in this area. And on this, the sternocleidomastoid muscle, the SCM, on either side of your neck, that connects down into the collarbone and up under your ears. For me, that's a really good area, because it's to just get a good tug, 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 quick tug with my fingers, my knuckles bouncing there. Knuckles bouncing down away from the bottom of the skull all the way around, tugging away from the attachment point of the skull. And muscles for me, are a little tighter in this area, so even massaging the muscles a little, but mostly just focusing on this tug, tug, tug everywhere around my neck. And now going up under my chin, feeling more of a tug, tug, tug underneath the chin. Okay, now getting up, we're going to start going a bit the other direction by using our hair, if you have hair, but pulling and tug, tug, tug up away from the neck, all the way around the base of like your hairline, kind of where you have it going, using your hair around your ears. Tug, 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 tug. Or your fingertips around, kind of, in really any direction. I try to keep track of where I've been and try to be even. And I'm kind of pulling all the tissue and tug, tug, tug up to some sort of center point at the top of my head. And also tugging then away from the center point at the top of my head, or in really all directions, just whatever feels good and feels like it's breaking it up. I also like to just grab the hair right at the top of the head and go almost in like a swirling motion to do the tug, tug, tug in all different directions. And then just pull all of the hair, whatever you happen to grab, out and away from the skull. This feels great. And some extra time around the temples. Tug, 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 all direction of the forehead. Tug, tug, tug. And in the forehead, and when you get into the face, you can move the muscles in all directions. Fingertips, whatever is the right pressure and the right tug, tug, tug. But around the middle of the nose, the bridge of the nose, you can just pull away from your nose. Tug, tug, tug. Tug, 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 away from your nose. For me, the bottom corner of my nose, tugging and moving that tissue away, feels like it really releases a lot. Feels good. That area, for me, gets tense. Okay, just, pushing every direction. I'm now tugging, tugging, tugging up away from my jaw by gripping in the middle of my cheeks. Lifting up and tug, 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 tug. And I can also, on my chin, I can move down, 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 or up, up, up. So you'll feel all those muscles and the directions that you need to pull to try to exercise and tug, tug, tug that connective tissue and those points of attachment. Tug, tug, tug. Now let's do. I'm just going to rub around my eyes a little bit, gently opening up and rubbing in kind of outward motion around my eyes. Feels very good. Circle motions here. And now the ears. Oh, gonna grab from kind of every point of my ears. Tug, tug, tug. And massage both ways. Feel good on the ears. But the gentle right pressure that feels good, bouncing and tugging my ears, pulling away from my face, up towards the sky, from grabbing the top of the ears, pulling just straight out away from the skull, and then grabbing from the bottom, scoop of the ear, pulling that tissue up and pulling it down, feeling the tug, tug, tug sensation, on the ears, but also on the connective tissue and attachment points that are more on the skull. And even grabbing the little tiny fleshy part at the front of the ears and giving some little tug, tug, tugs there in different directions that are feeling gentle and good for you. Very good. And the earlobes, pull them down and away and out. Earlobes down, away and out. That flesh there, tug, tug, tug. Okay, that feels good. Give your just body a little once over any tug, tug, tugs through the whole body. Feeling how it feels. Now let's just do some actual moving of our whole body in a bouncing motion. So standing comfortably, just going to start softening. Well, you're going to soften as much of the muscles in your body as you can while maintaining this bouncing rhythm. That's the right pace for you. Again, your bounce may be really slow today. Tomorrow your bounce may be really fast, and that's all okay. You just follow your pace, what's right for you. So loosening, and what you can do with your awareness as you do this bounce is move your awareness into different areas of your body, like maybe I like to start with my chest and kind of really feel the bounce, 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 that really similar stretching feeling that you felt with the tug, tug, tug. You're creating that similar tug, tug, tug through the bouncing motion that I'm feeling in my chest. And depending on how I kind of loosen up the muscles in my chest, it will increase the sensation of that tug, tug, tug. And where I orient my posture, I'll feel the tug, tug, tug in different places. I'm just going to do this for a nice little while. Maybe now, kind of feeling how I make my little adjustments and how that impacts or ripples through the tissue of my body. I can feel it in my chest, how I make my little micro adjustments. I'm feeling now in my abdomen where the tug, tug, tug is created on my hips, pelvis, front and back. And I'm noticing how I feel the shift in my little tug tugs, or like the change in that kind of connective tissue. I can feel it in my legs too. It's not the same bouncing feeling for me. It's just more of a stretching because I'm bending my knees and my ankles as I do this. So now I'm going to feel up into my shoulders, and my hands are loose, my forearms are loose. They are bouncing and moving just naturally with the motion. And feeling up into my shoulders, I'm actually going to move my neck a little bit to the left, kind of back, opening up a little more and letting that bounce move through to what feels like a good amount from my body, where my body's at. Just having that bounce, bounce, bounce. Really making micro adjustments so that I feel it a little more intensely in my shoulders and in my upper chest. Feeling that bounce, bounce, bounce. So you'll spend as much time as you need to on this area. I can feel right now I could spend more, but we'll keep going because you can come do more on your own. I'm putting my head forward a bit now and feeling the bounce, bounce, bounce a little bit more in the top of my back shoulders, the top of my back. Okay. I'm going to go a little more intense. A little more intense. Now let's go ahead and do just one arm, shaking it in all directions, really feeling your wrist just open, elbow open, wrist open. And go ahead and grab below the wrist and just do a little tugging as you're doing this motion at the same time. Increase that feeling. Just gentle, very gentle, but you can feel that tug, tug, tug at the same time as you're getting the bouncy movement. Now the left wrist, just in the left arm, shake the whole thing, getting that bouncy, stretchy feeling. Feels good. And now grabbing the left forearm a little bit, or below, close to the wrist, giving some little tugs as you're doing the flopping around of your little fin. Okay, now let's do a similar thing with the legs. So if you don't have a chair, you can just put most of your weight into one foot and kind of shake around your leg as much as your balance will permit, allowing your ankle to be open and loose, your knee to feel open and loose, moving it in kind of circular direction and shaky, bouncy directions. Very loose. You have something that you're holding on to or if you're even, maybe you have a little safe stool or something to step up on, you can do this a little more easily. I like finding like a little rock and a tree when I'm outside, or at the gym they have the steps. My gym has one with the handle too, and this is a good setup to get a really nice shake of the ankle and the knee and the hip. Try to see if you can get that similar kind of feeling or openness going in your hip too. Feels good. Now the other leg, either just standing with most of the weight in one foot, circling around, getting the shaky, bouncy feeling in there, or lifting the leg even up off the ground or stepping up onto something, getting the shaky, lifty, bouncy, swirly, break up, feel good. And bringing both feet back down, just standing, and I'm gonna go ahead and just make some circles, moving the knees and the ankles, and some kind of bigger circles, whatever feels good as you're just standing. And I like to open up my feet in the ground. Feel the bones really spreading out and gripping down into the ground in some way. You can put more tension into the different points of your feet and pull away to kind of open up the distance in between some of those bones. But just go ahead and move your feet a little bit more onto the ground, grinding it in different directions, gripping in, massaging the floor with your feet, making sure the floor feels really good, and spreading the toes out again here. Okay, feeling good. And now let's just wiggle the hips. Just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Let all that flesh in your mid-body be as soft and loose as possible. Shaky, shaky. Letting that wiggle move all the way up. And as you're comfortable and you're able to loosen up even to your neck, but do what feels comfortable to you at your own pace. Shaking, wiggling. Sometimes circular little movements. And now I'm going to do some little spine roll-ups. And I'm going to do this by shifting my weight in on my feet and allowing my hips to tilt forwards and backwards, making like a figure, kind of a figure 8 motion with my hips, with my pelvis. And then I just allow my spine and connective tissue, my muscles, to just follow the movement that's really initiated by my pelvis, so by my hips. So making kind of figure 8 curvy motion, and kind of just allowing that to get a little bit bigger, whatever feels good, and letting it cascade all the way up my chest, rolling it, curving it, allowing the head to join in the tilt to the degree that feels good and comfortable for you, right where your body's at. Again, no need to push it. Just be right where you're at. Break it up and feel good. Now I'm going to actually bend my knees in this a little bit more and go down, getting lower into more of a squat, and then up, going down lower into a slight bend of the knees and up. Whew. Okay. feeling good. Okay, now I'm going to actually squat down, spreading my legs pretty far apart on the ground, and I'm going to just go down into a squat, spreading, tilting my pelvis back, so basically taking my hips, moving them back down into a squat, and keeping my spine pretty straight at this point. And I'm going to move my hips down even closer to the floor, and going at a pace that's good for how loose my hips are right now. Getting into the squat, and then doing some little circles here. Again, going at your pace. For me, this is like a solid 4 years of doing it more regularly, but like 10 years of getting started to be able to do that. And just moving your legs in a bend in some circular motion to stretch out leg muscles, leg connected tissue, and do maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to do a little bit of a bouncing type of motion here, which is kind of like a froggy type thing. So I'm going to like allow my upper back to be softer and kind of let my shoulders feel a little bit of a bouncy wave in that kind of modified partly upside down position. Not for too long now. It feels looser. And then I feel like a little bit more on my neck. Just going to do some large circles that are involving my neck and my shoulders, not just my neck. Depending on where you are with your neck, it may just be really small circles and really slow, or you may be going a little bit more quickly, whatever feels right for you. I'm just going to spend some time just with some gentle movement just to one side, and just letting the weight of the head tug just a little bit there, the SEM, and then tilting the head to the right, getting a stretch down the side of the neck. Just very gently. If you want to go deeper, of course you can. You can make this more a deeper flex in the joint by pushing, adding some force, or using your muscles, or you can just passively let gravity do some tugging there, and even doing some of your tugs around your neck while your neck is off to one side. Can feel really good. Alright, and take maybe just a couple moments to feel into your body for any additional tugs that need to happen. Oh, and a crack. I seem to not be able to resist that. Crack. Okay. So that's the break it up and feel good. I should hope your body's feeling pretty lovely, but to really feel what you're feeling in your body, I would invite you to go ahead and just lay down. Lay down and just feel your body. Notice what you notice. And what I like to do in this is kind of a practice of, in a way of helping the body by giving it a break from having the personality plugged into it. almost like the personality goes into that connective tissue and has its grip, its habitual grip on how it likes to hold the tissue of the body. So just laying down and inviting the experience of the personality to just fall back into the earth, out of all the tissues of the body. Really feel this personality falling out of the face. It's no longer there in the face. The experience of your awareness, it might be helpful to have a kind of a practice of having the awareness fall down along the floor, down into like the bottom of your back or something, like some spot that feels down and away from the tissue of your body. But your awareness, your feeling of those tissues is still active and engaged. And you can practice feeling the tissue of your body without moving your eyes. So the part of your internal experience that grips into your eyes and into your face, you can just have a practice of dropping that away from the physical body. Just let the physical body be its little individual life unit. It knows exactly what it needs to do in order to sustain itself, in order to restore itself. So we just have the personality just slide out of the way or unplug, and just practice deeply relaxing the body, kind of deeply unplugging from the body. And noticing what you notice. You can practice resting your awareness in different parts of the body. And depending on what you noticed with your practice, where some of your tension was or your pain, it can be helpful to look at the body as kind of 3 different life units. Triplex. The 3 life units of the body you could look at as the core, which would be kind of the area that starts maybe around the solar plexus, all the organs down in your abdomen and your legs. It's kind of what I would put in the boundary of the core as this kind of life unit in that area of the physical body. That really coordinates and works with the heart area, which is, for me, kind of the ribs, the lungs, the heart, going up into the neck, out in the shoulders, and out to the arms and the hands. This is the heart. And then, and up into the neck too. I feel like that's kind of a part of the heart area for me too. But then up and around the ears, I'm feeling more into the head. So that third life unit, the boundary there is up somewhere around the face and the head. So it can be interesting practice to just notice those different areas. And if you felt some blockage, it can be helpful to just rest your awareness in what feels to you like the furthest most point in that life unit. So for me, I'm working on my core and allowing more and more flow, which means for my personality to inhabit less and less of my core, which is where it habitually is gripping. My personality just doesn't want to quite unplug from that area all the time, so I have a practice to allow it to fall back away just unplug. Let that body go back to this deeply relaxed, restorative state in the core. So to help that along, I practice holding my awareness, really just my feeling. I almost feel like it's almost better to prompt myself internally by just feeling my feet, or sometimes feeling my ankles. As I do this type of meditative practice, it can be really beautiful to feel the flow of the blood, just the pumping of the blood and the warmth, feeling that sensation. And I feel it particularly in my ankles. And then expanding how I feel that. And depending on how relaxed I get, I can feel that feeling in my entire body at once. And depending on how my practice goes, maybe the feeling will open up into some just lovely goosebump type feeling, or I feel champagne bubbles, feeling the entire boundary of my whole body at once. Can be a beautiful practice, and I take that as a really positive sign that my practice of allowing my personality to just drop out of those tissues has been a better practice, and that my body is just relishing in that experience of having full access to the tissues to flow the energy, blood, nutrition, shuttle around waste products, move around heat, whatever the body needs to do, that it's just got full reign, and it's just like, yay, I'm a body, I get to do this effervescent, bubbly, healing, restoring thing that I really love to do. Just give, like the personality is like, yeah, I just want to go take a break, body, have a heyday, do whatever you like to do. So I just encourage you to practice feeling what you feel as a result of breaking it up and feeling good, and to just remain in your relaxed, lying down observation for as long as feels good for you. I'll part for now. This recording is ending, but you carry on as long as this is right for you. It's been great to be with you for this time. Wishing you the best of health. Take care.